and welcome back to the Table 501 podcast. It's Cumble here, or better known as Shane.
Yup, Cumble.
Yup, Cumble. And I'm joined here by Ahmed and Justin. Why don't you guys say hi?
Hello.
Hello. We're also
Hi.
here.
So yeah, it's definitely been an eventful couple of weeks here, or months, I should
Just a
say.
little bit.
Or not eventful.
Yeah, that's true too.
The meta
But
is,
I,
Eventful for us.
That's
yeah,
true.
I think I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the Farfa stream, because most of you guys who are listening, thank you by the way if you are, most of you guys are listening here because Farfa gave me a shout out after I called him an absolutely, about the absolutely terrible Cumble panelist, and we talked
Thank
about
you, by the way, Farfa, for having Shane.
Yeah, holy shit, I did not expect that. That was actually huge. Yeah, so that happened. I don't know. It was really because we all love Farfa, and that was really interesting what happened there.
Well, I mean, you make a shitpost ban list
Yep,
and then
shitpost
send it to
ban list,
everyone.
yep.
People are gonna humor you.
I did fucking send it to everyone, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
A little bit.
I kind of was just spamming people. I'm pretty sure they thought I was a bot.
I mean, you're a bot in different ways.
I am a human bot at this point.
So, to give people some context, Shane and I were on a call, and I don't know how you got Farfa to start looking at your Reddit list, but then I was like,
I bribed him.
oh, okay. Well, I was like, hey,
$2
Shane.
donation.
Well, he was just like going through the list, and I was like, I'm sure he'd be interested in hearing some of your explanations, Shane. And he's like, yeah, I guess. And I'm like, Shane, I'm sure if you donated money and you said, hey, if you'd like to hear my explanations, because it was kind of like, it was just funny hearing him be like, oh, who is this guy? What is he thinking? And I'm like, well, we can get Farfa to hear what he's thinking if you donate, and maybe he'd let you on and like explain your just your reasoning through some of these bans, limits, semi-limits, and unlimits. And sure enough, I pressured Shane to do it. I pressured Shane to do it, and it worked out for the best.
That was so scuffed. That was so. It didn't set in that I was talking. It just felt like I was responding to his stream. It did not set in that I was actually talking to Farfa at that point. But now it's just like, what the fuck?
We love you, Farfa.
Yeah, we do. Even if you did shit on my ban list, which is completely fine because it was.
And his emote idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we taught the emote thing. Farfa, please, if you're listening, Farfa Cumble, please, I'm begging you. Chat wanted it. Come on.
We're giving you content.
Yeah, we're giving you content. Come on.
Well, since then, there's a ban list.
A real ban list.
There's a
Yeah,
real ban
With
list.
real
Actual
logic
one.
behind it. Mostly real logic behind it.
Goodbye, Link Cross. Goodbye, Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. And goodbye, Smoke Grenade of this Thief.
And goodbye, horses.
I think we can just end the podcast.
Yeah.
Would you fuck me? I'd
Well,
fuck me.
what are you referring to?
It's the Silence of the Lambs. You've never watched Silence of the Lambs?
No.
I didn't really know that that's what you were doing either, so
Oh, okay.
I'd like
alright.
to watch Silence of the Lambs, though. Anyway.
it's good. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
You said you didn't watch it. How do you say it's good if you
No,
didn't
I
watch
didn't
it?
get your reference. I didn't get your reference or
Oh,
what you
okay.
were going for.
You
Yeah,
get
no,
a
it's a good
stream, by
movie.
the way. You get a stream, by the way. But, it's interesting. So I'm very happy about the bans, because, like, the unlimits or whatever. You know, everyone thought they were going to happen. The semi-limit of True King's return. Okay, cool. We have more glue eaters in,
That deck's
in
still
the-
gonna
in
be
the-
bad.
Yeah, exactly. Semi-limit of a card that...
You could bring back every True Draco card except for Masterpiece, and the deck would still be bad.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
What do you mean that's not true?
Uh,
What? Okay. What
They
could
were
come
still
back?
doing stuff after Masterpiece. It was
Yes,
the
but I'm talking
diagram
in the
that
current
killed them.
in the current climate. They do nothing. Maybe be like a rogue deck.
I don't know. I could see Diagram giving them options, but let's move
I
past
think
this.
the bigger issue is the diagram would be used in dinosaurs.
Yep.
Yeah,
And it'd be more problematic there than it would actually be in True Draco.
I think it would be fine as long as they ban Misk. But we can talk about that later. Well, let's talk about the actual list.
Yeah,
Because right now
so-
we're touching on Cumble territory.
Right. So I'm very happy. Oh my god. So I'm very happy about the bans, but it was weird because I saw them and I was like, oh, cool, this is really good. But it didn't hit me like any other ban list. And I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well here. But normally when like a ban list hits, I'm always like super excited, like really excited. And this time I was like, oh, cool. You know, it didn't really hit the same way. And I genuinely attribute that to the fact that none of us are playing in person right now. And like interest in the game, again, as we talked about maybe a couple episodes ago, is just dwindling. So, you know, I don't know. It just didn't really hit that. I'm very happy about the bans. But I was like, okay, cool. This is just going to change how I watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I'm mainly watching it right now and consuming it rather than actually playing it. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's mainly because it doesn't personally affect me, and maybe I'm just speaking on my own behalf right now. Because I'm just not playing. So
I think another thing too is that this list was more of like just the, I don't want to say the bare minimum that they needed to do, but kind of like exactly what people said needed to go for Yu-Gi-Oh to continue.
Yeah, it was a
those were
meta
the
check.
problem. Yeah, those were the problematic cards. It doesn't really like make or break a ton of stuff. It's more that like this is like Konami
Exactly.
acknowledging that
Yeah.
like, oh, Smoke Grenade of the Thief is a like degenerate card that has to go.
Yeah.
They're not really looking for like crushing just meta decks, more just like taking out degenerate cards.
yeah, something that MBT said that I really resonated with, and I found to be incredibly true, is that so all these decks had like a super high ceiling. Like Dragon Link had this really high ceiling, Infernoble had this really high ceiling that were like just the cherry on top of an already very oppressive deck. And now that ceiling has just been lowered. So we'll talk about this more when we actually, you know, start thinking about the meta in a couple minutes here. But he said that it's not like, see the top 1 and 2 decks of the top 5, that being Dragon Link and Infernoble, are gonna just fizzle out of the meta, and then the 3, 4, 5 decks are gonna pop up and like overtake them. He just said everything is gonna, like, the ceiling for everything is gonna be lower, so it's gonna be the same format, just with a lower power ceiling. And you know, I'm not 100% sold on that. It could happen, but I could see it happening, but I'm not sure if it will. I genuinely think Infernoble is just gone. Link Cross and what do you call it? Smoke Grenade were absolutely integral to their.
Oh, thank God, Link Cross is gone. I just had to
Yeah,
put it
that's
out there.
actually
Oh,
yeah,
that's
holy
probably
shit.
that is definitely the biggest.
I
part of this.
agree because all these like random synchro good stuff decks that put out infinite negates or whatever.
I mean, Auroradon's still a card, but Auroradon is arguably more fair than Link Cross because you can't link
It
summon
absolutely
after it.
is. No, it absolutely is.
I hate to be like a needle fiber apologist, but like I'm glad that Konami didn't just go to try and neuter that, and they're
No.
actually like trying to see what happens if they cut other things around it.
Yep.
I still think it needs to get hit. Like
It does.
combo
No,
will
it
find a
does.
way,
It
but
does.
I'm happy Link Cross. Like I think like 1 or 2 more formats with Hulk is fine.
I can agree with that. Because it's like the firewall problem, where they're gonna keep banning cards around the problem card until the problem card finally gets banned. This card, unfortunately, does not have, or actually, fortunately, doesn't have anime shield protection like Firewall Dragon did. But again, I just don't think they're gonna ban it. At least for
anyways,
another format or two.
I wanted to, before we like switch topics, I did want to actually touch on what you were saying before, and that's exactly how I feel too about like the reason why this ban list didn't hit like other ban lists was because like we all looking at it, it's still going to be the same decks. Like exactly what you said, the ceiling's not going to be lower, so that just, it's not exciting. There's nothing
the ceiling
new.
is low.
And there was no
Yeah.
surprise. Like I said,
Yeah.
there's no surprise. There's no
Like-
like
Everyone's been
wasn't
saying
excitement.
Seer and Graph can come back to 3, and I don't think Burning Abyss is going to be doing anything.
It's not.
No, good
it's
God,
not. Beatrice is still at 1.
Yeah, like ABC Buster or like the ABC strategy is going to be doing nothing.
But hey,
'cause-
Toad's back.
It wasn't doing anything at 2.
Yeah, if it's like that's my logic. If it's not doing anything at 2, it's not going to do anything at 3, except for maybe Mally.
Malicious.
I still think Mally can come back to 3. I really do. But
Okay, he's insane. Yeah, we're ending the podcast. there.
Well, we're ending Shane.
Okay, all right. So just think of it this way: people are saying like, "Oh, it's just linked material." What link spam deck is playing Mally
Shane,
at 2
no,
right
Shane,
now?
Shane, stop. Shane, actually stop. Once once you get the malicious, I'm sorry, once you get the what do you call it? The Nemesis cards, like once they find some sort of like solid ground, if you get them plus malicious, that is almost infinite bodies on board.
Yep,
Because they just shuffle stuff back to the graveyard in the deck to special themselves out. Like that is not going to happen.
Well,
Shane.
but
Like,
then
also
again,
malicious
you are
has
now
it too.
also playing Nemesis cards,
Malicious
which
is
are
just
themselves are bad.
Unfair advantage.
That's-
It's just free generated advantage for putting a card in the
right.
grave.
Shane, that's why I said once they find some like solid footing.
If
Like
they get
right now they're a
okay,
pretty
all
weak
right, fair
engine.
enough.
They're pretty weak as an engine and as a deck.
Oh, they're
for that
very
matter.
weak.
But yeah, I'm just saying like there's cards that would abuse the hell out of malicious given the proper support. In any case, good ban list, but it just something I'm thinking about
boring.
is the yeah, it's like a solid 6 out of 10 ban list. You know, it did what it needed to do. I'm happy about it, but it just like
It didn't shake anything up. It didn't like Harp Horde didn't come back to 1, so like
Thank
they,
God.
Orcus gets in it. No, I'm just saying like it didn't introduce any other decks to the meta.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Arguably my favorite ban list of all time was the murder ban list of last January, where toss format just got obliterated. Where toss format was just like, okay, bye. Goodbye Engage, goodbye Colossus, goodbye Harpor, everything got banned. And that was by far my favorite ban list that I've ever played through in this game, ever since I started playing. Just because it banned, it moved around so many cards. What are you laughing at?
Okay, so you mentioned toss format ban list, so I'm on the actual ban list, so I kept hitting previous lists to get to that thing. So it went from the current ban list to the last ban list, and then when it went from that ban list to the June one, everything changed to Italian. And
Oh wait, you're right.
Yeah,
He's
I was trying to figure out why.
He's right. Shane's right.
Why?
Orare Arpa Orchestra. Colosso Drago del Tuono. What the hell?
Yeah, wait, what that? This is very odd. All
okay,
right.
anyway, sorry.
Weird. No, you're good. But yeah, Harpor got banned, Colossus got banned, Electromite got banned for some reason. Ib got banned. What else got banned? Mirage Stalio got banned. As a Thought got banned. Brilliant Fusion got banned. Everything. It was just a murder list, and it was awesome. Whereas this one, like, what, 7, 8 cards got moved, and then 3 of them were actually important, and they were 3 that everyone knew it was going to happen. Like, with the murder list, no one, like, we knew some stuff was going to happen. We didn't know it was going to be that intense, though, which, that's what made it exciting. But this one was, you know,
Yeah, no one knew Spiral was gonna come back, though. Or did people know?
well,
I don't
people
know.
did. No, people did because of the advent of Magician's Souls, which, guess what? No one's playing that card anymore.
Yeah,
what the
because
fuck?
it really only enabled Spiral.
Well, I mean, like, Pendulum used it. It was used as an extender, an advantage card in Eldritch, but they don't even play that anymore.
And it, in and of itself, it's what? It's essentially it can be kind of a bad draw engine too, because it essentially has that draw 2 thing.
Yeah, well, that's why it
on
was good in Eldritch, because they liked their spells and traps. They like currently their spells and traps in the grave. And I'm looking at TCG Player, and this card is still like upwards of like 60. I mean, it's still more expensive than I think it needs to be.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just a tangent. But that's the ban list.
So yeah, I was gonna say, because we kind of touched on it while we were talking about the ban list, but do we want to go like straight into meta? Like,
Yeah, I think meta implications is
so
not a bad idea.
I think we should just give what our top 5 decks that we think of the format and in order. And
I'm gonna abstain personally because, like I said, I haven't kept up too heavily.
oh, neither have I. I'm just kind of guessing from at least what I've heard and what I've seen moderately. I think what the best deck of the format is gonna be VW, hands down.
No.
I
Whatever, continue.
Yeah,
continue.
of the format, it's gonna be VW, then Eldritch Zoo, then Dragon Link. I still think Infernoble is there, but
LOL.
I think Dino and then Infernoble. So that's my top 5. So like VW, Eldritch Zoo, Dragon Link, Dino, Infernoble.
Okay. My list is almost the exact same, just in a different order. I don't really know the order of what I'd put them in, so this is in no particular order. Some sort of Eldritch variant, definitely Virtual World, some sort of Zodiac variant, some sort of dinosaur, just dinosaur. And I don't really know what I'd put as my 5th. It's like a flex spot, maybe some like Dogmatica engine or something. Yeah, I'd say Dogmatica engine.
Like Dogmatic
Like-
Invoked or something.
Maybe not Invoked, but something along those lines. I see Drytron being played, but like I don't know. I don't think it's completely there in terms of the meta. Maybe we'll see how it ends up.
Yeah,
with
if
the LCS that's
Drytron
currently
ends up
going on.
winning and it picks up steam, that deck's going to be the reason why Ben 10 gets limited. The Ben 10 is like literally you want to talk about infinite resources. Ben 10's like the ritual version of Mali.
You just really like talking about that card.
I'm just saying. Anyways, oh, I also wanted to say, like, I know we were talking about the meta, and I guess this kind of wraps into it, but we completely forgot about stuff that they didn't hit that they should have, like Misk and VFD, very fun dragon.
Yeah.
Yes.
LP as well, but I like LP.
I think VFD, I still stand by VFD isn't as big of a problem card, but Misk is just a card that says, if I draw this card, you can't play. You don't get to play the game anymore.
Well, you get to. It's kind of weird. It's too strong of a card. Any card that says you can't interact with me is inherently unfair. So
okay, that's not necessarily true,
yeah, I don't agree with
like,
that. I don't agree with that.
Because some cards protect themselves, some cards say like this card is unaffected. Well, I think that's like fine is the card design as long as it doesn't go overboard.
Oh.
Where it goes overboard is something that you and I talked about, Shane, where its effect to protect your entire board is a quick effect, and B, by activating that effect, it gives you advantage because it puts itself in the grave to do that. And then you can just banish it for at least a baby Ceratosaurus.
Yep.
That's why it's problematic, because it
I
protects everything as a quick effect. And then by doing that, you get more. It's a win more card as a win more card.
I didn't
good,
necessarily. I didn't necessarily mean like any card that says like unaffected by card effects is unfair. That I mean, or like in some capacity, like Nephthys, the Sacred Flame, or Soldier or Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, that kind of are like you can't target or destroy, or even like Dragoon. I'm talking like straight up. What I meant by that is discard this card. You cannot interact with any monster or the majority of monsters I'm going to put out. It's a lingering protection effect, not just for one card. Like an uninteractive one card is just whatever. You can kaiju it. What do you do on Misk other than Called by the Grave?
You hope to God you have that Called by the Grave, because there's nothing else you can't. There's
or
literally
Lancia
nothing else you
or
can do.
Chaos Hunter or something.
The Lancia doesn't really do too much though.
They can't banish Misk then to extend.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect their monsters, it affects the player.
Yep.
So Lancia and Misk are like the MVP hand traps for against Dragon.
You
Or
also
not Dragon,
can't.
Dino, sorry.
You can't chain Chaos Hunter to the resolution of Misk because they haven't special summoned anything. You can Lancia in response to the resolution, but no, you're right. It does affect the player. It doesn't affect the monsters. So you can Ash Misk.
I wasn't saying that you couldn't do it. I was saying if they still have, or they can still set something up usually. It may not be optimal, but like that is literally your interaction. They can't.
I mean,
they can't pop off as hard, but
even
they can probably still
Dinos-
summon some stuff to scare you.
Yeah, even Dino's like non-optimal board still usually ends on UCT, and UCT is a fucking hell of a card.
Yes.
It's just a big ogre that punches you and like
Yeah.
makes
But
everything
yeah.
hide and then kills you.
Okay, so do we want to touch on VFD a little bit more, or no? Or do we want to go
Yeah.
back into the meta discussion like we were before?
I mean, this is the meta discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think VFD is more problematic than other cards like it. Like, clearly it's more oppressive than Utopic Zale and stuff like that because this card's seen play. But I feel like VFD is more fair than something, like I said, something like Misk. Because that's like a glaring issue. VFD is more problematic just because a lot of decks can get it out, and it is, just you can't play. But there's so many points usually that you can stop them from summoning VFD. You know what I mean?
I still think that even with that, like, I don't like using the excuse of, oh, you can stop them before they make this card, as a defense to a card that's inherently unfair.
Sure.
Or like, oh, this card has this response, so technically this card is fine. Like, oh, Zexal has you can Imperm or Gamma or XYZ Encore or Chalice Zexal. So
That's a
he's
lot
fair.
of options. That's a lot of options.
Yeah, it's a lot of options, but I think like any card that's just like, hey, detach one or do this, and now your opponent can't do anything this turn other than set a couple cards. Be like, yep, set 5.
You can activate Aruha's effect in hand.
Also, I mean, then by your logic, then you have to give up like the red reboot idea because that card literally says if you play a trap deck, no thanks.
Yeah, no, I've kind of given that up. One, I know it's not gonna come back. Two, I realize why it's not gonna come back. It's a little bit unfair.
Personally, I don't have any stake in VFD. I just I don't think it's as glaring as an issue as a lot of the other cards that were banned, or like I said, Misk, which is just.
Well, you play Control, so like you can just you play Striker, so like VFD, you're like, okay, all right, set Widow Anchor and all these other shit.
Drama,
Well, no,
call out.
Here's like the kind of like point I have to make on cards like that. I know you say like, oh, it's not necessarily a great idea to use the you can stop this combo from happening excuse for a card, but I was playing Numeron Striker for a while, and its biggest problem was that it got stopped really easily. We're playing in a really hand-trappy meta still, and there's a lot of cards, like you named like 5 cards that just stop any play like that just dead in its tracks. It just says like, no, you can't do that anymore. And so, yeah, I get that it's not fun to play against, but I don't know, if a card has like a handful of counters that you can toss in to stop a play, I don't know that it's ban worthy.
I don't know. I think the ban list's function is to increase the fun of the game, and with that,
it's not. It's the sub product.
No, it 100% is. Like I'm saying, an ideal ban list would be to increase the level of fun people are having in the game.
I disagree. I think a ban list is more for increasing the like general balance of any given strategy. Like more of a keeping certain strategies in check and making sure that we don't have an entirely combo-oriented format or an entirely control-oriented format.
I think you're both right, because it by doing one, you can get to the other. Like,
yeah,
if
I was
you
just gonna say,
ensure that you don't have a completely dominant meta, people are much more likely to have fun. And then by ensuring that people are having more fun, well, that looks like making sure that one strategy isn't completely overtaking the entire meta. So I think you're both right.
Also, diversity is fun.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, see, that's
diversity
exactly
is
what I was
the
gonna
most
say.
important part of
Diversity,
this game.
yeah.
Deck diversity is the most important part of the meta. I will die on that hill.
And
Like,
I was
even
actually
if you have
just
like
about
10
to mention something too.
Well, even if you have like 10 tier 0 decks, like that's never gonna happen. Well, don't quote me on that. But like it'd be cool if that happened. But if you had like 10 top tier decks, that would be awesome, because I don't know, it just makes it much more interesting to watch. And then as long as the difference between the best decks and the next best decks isn't too big, where it's not like complete gatekeeping, that keeps it even better, because then the diversity is just like even that much more expanded. because like Rogue is a really fun category to spectate and play. So if those Rogue decks can contend with, let's say, the top 10 best decks, I don't know. That just contributes a lot to the fun of this.
That was like almost exactly what I was gonna say. Like, if how should I say this? If Joe Blow can take his his ABC Cyber Dragon or ABC Orcus deck to locals and still have a chance of making like the top tables, then cool. That he's gonna have fun. That's good for the game. Now I'm not saying like if you should be able to take ZW Utopia to locals and still have a chance of topping that.
Well, why not?
I do have one more point I want to make on that actually. I think a big thing for me is cards kind of like VFD, kind of like Needle Fiber. They do, granted, a lot of boards are just using them to end on like a similar thing, but I think those cards also do enable a nice diversity in the meta because they are so accessible. So like, again, Sky Striker can make, or not Sky, a lot of decks can make VFD, and so you don't always have to run the same engine to make it. You know what I mean?
I was about to ask you to explain how Skytrack.
I was gonna say, how are you doing that?
What have you been labbing, Justin? give me this fucking sauce right here. Holy shit.
No, but just in like the same vein of like the two ban cards we've talked about, like Needle Fiber is what I was gonna say. Is like a card that Striker can use to compete with like top tables. Like you can do something with that. Yeah. And so I think that those cards, while they aren't necessarily always fun to play against, they do encourage a diversity in the meta because they are easily accessible. So a lot of strategies can do it. Again, I don't really have marriage in any way to VFD. Like, if it goes, cool. If it stays, cool. Yeah, those are just my thoughts.
I don't necessarily like cards that say, do you have the hand trap for this? Cool. All right, you don't? All right, you don't get to play.
Something else that's really important is that, and this is going to push back a little bit on what you said, Justin. Not just said, but before, in terms of like having an answer to a card. A lot of people, a lot of decks as well, can play around those answers. So let's just take Utopic Zexal. Not really a problem right now. But, okay, the answer's Chalice or Imperm. Okay, fine. Let's say they're playing the Eldritch variant, which a lot of people do. You try to Imperm it. Well, it activates its effect. S0 activates its effect. You chain Imperm. They chain Conquistador and then Sanguine. Sanguine resolves. Conquistador resolves. Destroys their Zexal. Imperm resolves. Has no target anymore. Zexal now resolves. So like even these decks that you have answers to, they're answering your answers. They're doing the same thing with VFD. Like you chain Imperm to a VFD, VW can just destroy their VFD and like,
with,
oh cool.
Chooch, right?
I don't remember what card.
But
yeah, they can just destroy it and it's like, oh darn, my answer that I was banking on now is like no longer, it resolves without effect. And that just sucks because the answers that we're all banking on are just like gone. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you, Justin, to a point. Like, yeah, of course, everything that has an answer, it can at least be played with or played around. But now there's like people playing around those answers, and it just sucks.
For me, I feel like the problem is more those answers to the answers than it is the card that's being answered. Because the problem is that you're losing to the answer to the answer. You're not losing to the card. You're losing to the chain of those two traps. You know what I mean?
But is that really the answer here?
Shut up.
I think it is. I think it is, Shane.
So are you trying to say that Conquistador is an issue or like Chooch is a problem?
I think Eldritch, like I love Eldritch. I play it. I think Eldritch is like something that needs to be reeled in. Because it's exactly that. It just adds too much extra to already like strong strategies. VFD is a strong strategy, but again, if it gets impermed, like oh darn, having an answer to that imperm is what's like
really pushing it over the edge.
Yep.
I think so. VFD is an unbelievably strong card, very very strong card. We can all agree on that.
Oh yeah.
And I think the cherry on top that people that just like really get upset over is it's already stupid hard to play against. It's already really hard to play against.
Yeah, if
And
you
now
don't draw the
people,
out.
well, even with when you have the out, right? Which is what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
But then what people like sends people over the edge is that they don't even care if you have the out because they can just get rid of their VFD and then it resolves and then it's fine. So it just sucks that you have this ceiling that's so high for these cards that already suck so much to play against, and then like the ceiling gets raised just a little bit higher, just to the point where you can't get over that ceiling anymore because they destroy it or they get it off the field or they, you know, I don't know.
I actually have a really, really good point, I think. That
Oh
at
wow,
least
bringing around home here.
Sorry.
Bring it on
No,
down.
I think Justin
Yeah,
can
he
get on
goes
board
on
with.
Farfa's stream. He's like, yeah, I have the best opinions.
No. I'm just saying
Yup, combo.
that
Move
Justin
out,
will actually be
peasants.
able to
Let
agree
me
with this.
talk.
I think I can. I'm sorry. I think I can put this into a way that Justin, you're going to actually agree with here. So, at least in my eyes, the obvious answer if you're going to hit Eldritch is to limit Sanguine. You hit the consistency of the deck. You don't hit that. Now, that's not the point.
I'm
point
going to interrupt
was-
you really quick just to say,
Yep.
like, the OCG did something today that I don't know if you guys have seen the ban list. We should that's
not.
going to be a good this is a good segue and we should absolutely talk about it. But continue, Shane.
I was gonna say the problem with Sky Striker, like previously when Engage was legal, was that it was being splashed into other decks. So they hit the consistency for reasons not Sky Striker related, if that makes sense. So they hit Engage. So are you saying that if VFD can exist, but if these decks that are abusing it, you hit the consistency to that, so those decks essentially not necessarily die, but they get hit for the sins of another card for things outside of the actual strategy of it, or
Well,
should
no.
you actually hit the strategy themselves?
I feel like it's a little different with Eldritch because Eldritch is just like even without splashing, like Eldritch is just pretty powerful. It can do a lot of stuff.
It's very grindy, very, very recursive.
And like, yes, Striker is that way, but again, Striker's not doing anything, but Eldritch is being played in everything just to like make other strategy. I don't know. I see what you're trying to say, and I feel like there's a difference, but I feel like I have to think a little bit more on it to.
Essentially, I was
make
just
a good
saying,
point back.
should a strategy be hit for the sins of the inherently unfair either interaction, an unfair engine, or an unfair card themselves, in order to bring the relevance of that, the power of that card down?
I feel like if an engine is so splashable that the engine is what's like boosting other decks, I think that's when the consistency can be hit. I just think, in my personal opinion, they did it poorly with Sky Striker than they could have.
Fair enough. I wasn't necessarily trying to comment on. I only brought up Sky Striker because I know you play it.
No,
so
I
was trying
know.
to like relate.
I think any deck or any engine that's that splashable does need to be reeled in somehow. But yeah, I think that they do have to pay attention to how they do it. Like maybe Sanguine would be too hard of a hit. Maybe hitting Conquistador would be the more, well, now it's not splashable, but the engine can still do what it's meant to do. And I'm not saying they should hit Conquistador. I'm just saying, like, maybe that's the better play, or maybe there's something else that I can't think of that we're gonna find out about on this OCG list.
Yeah. So I think we can actually move there now if we're done with other stuff.
I have one last question. We don't have to.
Yeah,
like,
of course,
on
of
it.
course.
What the fuck happened to Phantom Knight Orchists? Like, people-
They just run way too many bricks.
okay, because like it literally blew up in that one MBT tournament, and then I haven't heard anyone talk about it since.
Yeah, I think that might have just been a fluke.
Isn't it like super fragile too? Like it has lots of bricks that it runs, so you can always just open like 4 bricks. But doesn't it just die to like 1 or 2 hand traps?
Yeah, sometimes if you just hit like, let's say you ash the gear suit, They just
Oh, yep,
pass.
yeah,
They
yeah,
just
yeah,
pass.
yeah. You're right. Okay, you're right.
Sometimes they just pass.
I still think it's a strong deck. It's just it's very very, and that's honestly what I like about like if a lot of the decks were like that where the deck has a very high ceiling but it doesn't have a ton of resiliency. Like
So like
you
glass
can't-
cannons.
Yes, yeah. If you're going to be playing a combo strategy, you make it glass cannon so that like
A
if
trained player would say that.
I'm just saying. Well, no, like that helps you out though too as control. I mean, yes, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I'm just saying like you if you're gonna hit, I'm trying to say if you're going to hit a deck or hit a strategy, not necessarily hitting the power of it is the way to go, unless that like unless it's like fucking Dragon Buster or Destruction Sword or Smoke Grenade. But not hitting the power is the way to go. Hitting the consistency, one, of that strategy, and two, the resiliency of that strategy, which, funnily enough, Misk is both of those. That's the way to go, so that they can still do their combo, but if they get interrupted, it's just like, well, all right, you stopped me. There should be risk with reward. If the reward is super high, the risk should also be equally high.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we want to? Do we want to go
let's
straight
get to
on
this. Let's get to this OCG list.
OCG ban list, or should we save the Cumble for last if we want to actually talk about the Cumble, or do we not want to?
People, they've heard about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
they've heard
I feel like it's.
Yeah,
been,
well, they've heard
it's been in the
Marfa
news.
flame me for it, but they haven't heard you guys flame me for it.
I don't really.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
don't really want to. So first and foremost, Firewall Dragon got an errata, and therefore it is at 1 in the OCG. What does the OCG mean for us? Basically nothing most of the time, but because it got an errata, it's probably going to come back here. So both of its effects have hard ones per turn, which is really good. The first effect is unchanged, but it is a once per turn now, and then the second effect is limited to special summoning one Cyberse monster from your hand, bottom text. That's it. So it's a hard ones per turn. So that already, caps it off a little bit. But then limiting it to Cyberse monster, special summoning a Cyberse monster from your hand makes it just, and Salman, great card.
Yep. Or another Cyberse deck that'll probably pop up in the next few months.
Code Talker Turbo.
Um,
But anyway, the main things, because I don't really want to sit here and talk too much about the OCG ban list because it doesn't have too many implications for us usually. But Forbidden is now Grinder Golem, which we've had banned for a couple of years now. Limited is Red Reboot, which we've had. Nadir Servant, which is, possibly something that could come here. A lot of people have been calling for it. Limited Pankratops. We've had Firewall Dragon as an errata limited, as I mentioned. Semi-limited, Duloran, the Ice Dragon or Ice Barrier card. Wind Up Magician, Junk Speeder, Magical Meltdown, that's another thing we can talk about. And then here's the thing that I wanted to mention before, where it's Cursed Eldland that got semi-limited. And then the unlimiteds don't really matter.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Cursed Eldland getting semi-limited, is not going to do too much, but limiting the amount of non-searchable searchers, it's a fun phrase to say, but limiting the amount of non-searchable searchers that the deck can access, I think is a good way of tampering it, because everyone's like, oh, Sanguine, which I agree, but if you're not going to hit Sanguine, I think Eldland is also a really good hit, because they can get basically any of their cards they need through that. And it's just like hitting any other searcher in a deck.
Yeah,
Granted,
I agree.
Granted,
I
at
think
2,
you
I don't
have
think
to
it's going to
hit one
change a
or
ton,
the other.
but you can hit both.
Eldland and Sanguine the one. Let's go. Kill Eldritch.
Well, okay. Go ahead, Shane. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I would even agree that'd be way too much.
Yeah.
But like I would agree with either like a Sanguine to one or an Eldland to one, and I'd be like, okay, that should be
Eldland's a
enough.
strong card. I don't think people realize how big that card is in the strategy a lot.
Yeah,
of the time.
Eldland is really good.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
card is literally
Eldland is
the
really good.
oh, okay, now I get my Eld Glitch, and I get whatever trap I want, like, no question. Because it's just got a very powerful effect.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like
You've
once per
convinced me.
turn
You
and only
actually-
once
yeah.
that turn.
You-
If you semi-limited both, though, I think that'd be a decent hit in the TCG. Sanguine and Eldland, because
That's interesting.
yeah.
See, this is why I
Huh.
like. This is why I actually like looking at the OCG list, because it gives a good like alternative like dimension that you can go to for Yu-Gi-Oh, where Sky Striker Orchest just like still is a possibility, and like I don't know. It's just nice to see these like other ideas and see like which pans out better, what cards can survive longer in these formats.
Something I wish that the TCG had would be the about to burp.
The Dragoon
Excuse me.
hit.
Well, no. I mean, yes, but no. I mean, yes. Is the so first off, the ban lists are live streamed in the OCG, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's hype. That's hype.
That's really cool. The better thing, in my opinion, is that the people that announce the ban lists give rationales. They explain why.
yo.
The TCG does not do that. They're just like, here you go. Here you
Yeah,
go.
it's like,
Bye.
Yep.
It's something that I don't like about Konami is how hush they are about everything.
The Konami USA, yeah.
Konami USA just doesn't interact with their community at all, and I really don't like that. But anyway, so for example, here it says like the
sponsor us,
rationale
Konami.
for the rationale for Cursed Eldland going to 2 is Cursed Eldland allows Eldritch decks to easily add cards every turn. It is hoped by semi-limiting it, the deck will be bottlenecked somewhat. And then for Meltdown, it's basically the same thing, but it says
Oh
Magical
wait, they hit
Meltdown.
Meltdown?
To 2.
Oh yeah, to 2, yeah.
Oh.
Meltdown synergizes with Dogmatica too much. True. You can easily add Alexander the Invoker, and by semi-limiting it, it is hoped that the deck will be somewhat bottlenecked in terms of power. Again, like, they give rationales, and they're, reasonable rationales to give.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see it to go to 1, but
Yeah, I know you would, Shane.
I still think 1 it'd be fine. Like, but it's just that it just hit again. It doesn't hit the power; it hits the consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see all the plunder cards to 1, but we can't get all of our wishes.
Joke's on you! I don't play Plunder anymore. No, I do.
I bought you. Oh my god.
I do play Plunder. All right, I've been kind of
Okay, listeners at home. Shane was like, "Ugh, I can't buy this card. I can't. What card was it? Whitebeard, Bluebeard.
It was Whitebeard, yeah.
Whitebeard, yeah. He's like, oh, I don't really. I know, gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm like, you know what, Shane? I'm feeling nice today. I'm gonna get you a Whitebeard. He's like, oh my
told
god,
you
thank
not
you,
to.
thank you. Oh my god. And now he threw away the deck. He sold it immediately upon getting it for a profit. So good job, Shane.
You bought him a profit, though.
Yep.
Also, for listeners at home, not have picked up on this yet, Shane swaps decks every 45 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And 1 out of like 200 of them are like a good idea, and then the other 199 are just shitpost decks.
Yep. 100%. But they're fun. So what?
Sometimes.
What decks do I have built right now?
You have Dogmatica LOB format.
Yep, Dogmatica LOB.
What the fuck?
Full rarity, or full high rarity Light Sworn. No, I'm kidding.
That'd be sick.
Dude, that'd be fucking nuts.
Oh yeah, there's new Light Sworn cards coming out. They're actually
there?
really good.
Huh.
I don't remember what they are, but they're really good.
No, but like in terms of decks that I have, I think I have Tenyi, Trains, Plunder definitely, and I have most of the Megalith cards, but that's mostly because
Rest in peace.
Yeah, alright.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Dude,
Goodbye,
that deck is
Black
so fun
Dragon.
to play.
Good fucking bye.
Oh yeah, no, that card did need to go, so I'm not too torn up about it.
Also, Ahmed, speaking of new releases for like stuff like that, did you see the new mat and Judge Mat?
Yeah, the Unchained stuff looks really
so
good.
hype. It
Does
looks
that mean there's
so
gonna be more
good.
Unchained support?
People are extrapolating that. I don't really know if getting a mat. Oh, bro, we got a Phantasme mat. We're gonna get more Phantasme support.
Dude,
Right? No, I don't
find
think
it
so.
funny.
I don't think
I
so.
find it funny how it's a Judge mat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Judge Mat and then a player mat.
Oh, okay. I was
It's
gonna
two
say
mats.
because it's an unchained, judge mat. Coder's a judge, and he was a judge.
Those look so good.
They
Those
look
look
really
really
good,
good.
Yeah.
I've always loved when Konami official stuff is like that.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, the Hella mat, the generator boss of like the underworld or
Yup.
something.
Yep.
That mat looks unbelievably good. Holy cow!
I still want, and I know I don't even play a deck with this card. I still want the IP mat because it just looks so nice.
I'm going on eBay right now.
Like,
I'm not kidding.
like, ooh. But this is a good time also to move into. Are there any new sets coming out that we want to talk about?
Oh yeah, no. So when we were talking about Firewall, it reminded me.
Holy shit! All of these mats are so lewd.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! For some
Somebody,
reason.
I really haven't read this card too much. I mean, common Yu-Gi-Oh player, right? Am I right? But when you were talking about
No.
Firewall, it reminded me of a Dazif video where he was going into this new card that people are saying like, oh, it's just a bad Firewall, or it's Firewall's head essentially on a horse. It's the proxy horse. I don't know what set it's gonna be in, but
It's a, what do you call it? Shonen Jump promo.
Oh, okay. So if you use this card, you control as link material for Cyberse monster. One Cyberse monster in your hand can also be used as material. During your end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 2 link monsters in your graveyard, including at least 1 Cyberse monster. Return them to the extra deck. You can only use this each effective proxy horse once per turn. I mean, it's essentially the opposite of microcoder, right?
Sure.
I don't really know what microcoder does.
I don't
So,
know.
It
yeah.
means that if you're going to be using if you're going to go into like a Cyberse link monster, you can use this card in your hand as material for it. This just lets you have to have this on the field first, and then you can use a card in your hand.
Interesting.
Yo, Justin, this is not the place to plug this, but Justin, there's an
Yeah.
IP Masquerena, the WCQ one for $40, which is pretty good.
Ah, that's so tempting.
It's
If-
that's a really
if
good
if
price.
IRL Yu-Gi-Oh is happening right now, like I would buy that shit right now, but I wouldn't have a place to or I wouldn't have a purpose for it right
Yeah,
now.
I made the mistake of well, not necessarily a mistake. It looks fucking nice. But I have a plunder mat and I have a trains mat.
Well, no, those are good purchases because those are decks you play. Like I don't
Yeah.
play IP Masquerena in anything I've ever played.
Yeah, but still IP. I mean that mat, one, will always have value, and two, I mean if it looks nice, if a mat
I was
looks
gonna
nice,
say it's a WCQ mat with a waifu on it. That thing is only going to go up in price.
Yeah.
Plus, I've got a little bit of like emotional connection to IP because it was the
Oh
first,
yeah.
it was the first money card I ever pulled, and I
Yeah.
immediately sold it.
Yeah.
Konami, you didn't hear that. Konami, you didn't hear that.
Yeah. No one buys and sells cards, by the way.
yeah,
yeah, no,
everyone
really
just
never.
buys sealed product.
Yep.
And not only that, like especially at any tournament, like no tournaments do any
No.
sales of cards.
Which is a good transition into me announcing our sealed only. I'm kidding. I mean, I still think it would be cool, but it has been overdone. It's been beaten into the goddamn ground. It's been beaten like this proxy horse. There you go. No, that was terrible.
Oh,
Oh,
what?
does anyone have any last anything else they want to mention?
I mean, if
Oh, go ahead, Shane.
I was gonna say, if you guys wanted to, we could talk about the Cumble, but I know it's been.
I don't really think we need
I
to.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, Farfa did enough.
This might just be a weird question that'll come off as like stupid, but I don't really care. Do you guys ever think Parallel Exceed Dragon will ever like be problematic?
Parallel
Uh,
Exceed Dragon or just Parallel Exceed?
Parallel Exceed. I'm sorry. The card that just literally says Generate Advantage.
Oh, I mean, it's a free Abyss Dweller. It's a free rank 4. It's a really,
Yeah.
really good card that can also chain block. I don't know if it's. I don't know. I think it needs the right deck.
Yeah, and that's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm thinking about. I don't know, just because we were talking about like Mally before and stuff like that. I was trying to think of other cards like that, and yeah, that card came to mind because when I was playing, what's that archetype that came out and did nothing that we covered a while ago? There are a few of them. It was the one with the strange like Chinese lore names. Oh, what is that?
Virtual World.
What's the virtual world?
Yeah, it was VW.
Yeah.
That was
Wow. Okay.
Data
Never
Escape,
mind.
right?
Yeah,
Datascape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
I
the
didn't
same
realize.
deck.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize that those were the same. Wow. This is how out of the loop I've been for
Oh,
like
wow.
weeks. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, never mind. That card is really good in that deck. So okay, maybe that card does come up soon. Because
Yeah.
that card was literally just like, oh, I get to make one of my monsters and start my combo.
I think like the biggest, not necessarily the biggest problem. I think it's a fine card, but like Ahmed said, for a card like that, it just takes one deck to be able to abuse it for it to become like like this card needs to get hit kind of thing, like a semi-limit.
Yeah, and that
something
was
like
It
kind
that.
of
also needs the right card to make, because like what, you're gonna go into Abyss Dweller? Abyss Dweller doesn't
Not
need to
necessarily
be
Abyss
hit.
Dweller, the one
Well,
that
No,
no,
Shane.
mine
No,
for
Shane.
me.
I'm saying as an example, right?
Yeah.
If they print like a generic rank 4 that's like search any monster in your deck, right? For
Konami
example.
Konami might.
Yeah, I know the
Waffle
direction they're
Chain.
going. Yeah, like no, seriously. If Lavable Chain
card
came
says-
back, then like holy crap, dude, Parallel Exceed is just unbelievably strong because it's a free Lavable Chain. Lavable Chain is not coming back.
No,
but-
God, no.
Yeah, it just needs the right card and right deck. to
Pour
be
one
just
out
Yeah,
for my
really
homies and my Infernity homies.
That,
No,
that
I was
kind of
gonna.
answered my question pretty well, by the way.
Yeah.
broken.
I was gonna say like the other card that you go into, at least like when I was labbing a Crusadia, you play it and you use it to make Trap Tricks Reflatia. You run one
Oh, yeah.
Gravedigger's Trap Hole in the main, and so now you have another monster negate. But mostly it was just there to get to a Nibiru negate pre 5 summons.
Sure.
Also, I just want to put this disclaimer out there. I'm sorry, VW players. I did not realize that was the virtual or the localization. So
Well, they play VFD, so you don't have to be sorry to them. You don't
Zipper
have to
Man.
I literally just argued for VFD. What do you mean? I do have to be sorry.
Oh, did we talk about LCS? We didn't really talk about LCS. Do we
Yeah,
want
it's
to?
still going on. I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically everything that we talked about in the meta. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's what's the breakdown? Let's find out.
51% or 51 other, 51 Zodiac variants with 33 Eldritch, 12 Dogmatica Eldritch, and 6 Pure, 41 Virtual World, 37 Eldritch variants, like actual Eldritch variants, with which are 14 Dogmatica, 12 Pure, 5 Evil Twin, which is interesting, and 6 other, 22 Drytron, which we could talk about too, which we kind of did. 16 Dinosaur, 15 Dogmatica Invoked, and 11 Prank Kids.
Yeah, that's basically everything that we mentioned in the meta discussion.
Yeah, the weird things there would be the Evil Twin Eldritch, Drytron kinda, and then Prank Kids, but
the Evil Twin stuff. I think Evil Twin's gonna come up a little bit. I've
Gonna blow
been
up?
I've been seeing a lot of like
yo, Parallel Exceed and Evil Twins maybe. That'd be kinda nuts.
Oh
the
yeah.
few things I have seen in the last month or two about like up and coming stuff. Like Evil Twin looks like it's gonna be kind of scary.
Does it do anything? Like
No, they have like one pop per turn.
yeah, that's what
but
I was.
You pair
yeah.
it with Eldritch, and suddenly it's
get-
good deck. So
2 pops per turn.
Yeah,
yeah. The last thing I really want to say is, wow, I said this before we recorded, but wow, I did not expect Zodiac to do anything, and here we are. Somehow, here we are.
yeah. The interesting thing for me is I want to see which variant of Drytron is like doing well. That's what I was trying to say. Because there's, at least to my knowledge, there's 2 different versions, and one's arguably, or not arguably, one is more commonly known as like the actual good version. The other one's just kind of bad gimmick. And the bad gimmick one is the turn skip one with Amor Factor, whatever the hell, that essentially says your opponent skips their main phase 1, and then they use a card that skips their battle phase, which means they don't get their main phase 2, so it's just a turn skip. But it's a really gimmicky combo. But then the other one, which I think is the much stronger one, is the Drytron Fairy with like Herald of Perfection, Ben 10, and all that kind of stuff, where it can put up like an absolute, I mean, it's Herald of Perfection Turbo. You can just put a fuck ton of negates up. You can also use Drytron to go into VFD. I don't know if you can do that anymore now that Link Cross is banned, but yeah, I just want to see which version of that deck is actually doing well.
Well, keep an eye out.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these lists. Or even like Top Cut, because this is what? This is just like the 244 players playing. I want to see what decks actually make it to Top Cut, because I mean, I was saying like, oh, I can't believe there's only this many dinosaur players, or dinosaur decks out there now, since they're essentially untouched. But somebody said that they have a shit VW and Eldritch matchup, which are arguably like the two best decks right now. So I mean that made sense to me, but still, I think Dinosaur is strong enough in its own merit to be able to do well. So I want to see how many of those Dino decks actually make it to Top Cut.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about at all, or should we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, as I say, I think I'm good. I don't really have anything else.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for subscribing if you were here after the Humble incident on Farfa's stream. We are really, really happy that you guys are here, and if you have made it all this way to the end. Yeah, thanks for listening. This has been the Table 501 Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. I'm Shane, or Farfa Cumble.
I'm
Yo.
Justin.
I'm Ahmed. Wish me luck on my final exam on Wednesday.
Good luck.
Hey,
Good
Except
luck.
by the time Shane uploads this, it's gonna be after Wednesday.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So,
It's
like,
gonna be like a month
wish,
after.
Wish him like luck in the past.
Yes.
Yeah, we're recording this like December 13th, and the last one, so at least that you guys can at least hold me to that.
Okay, goodbye. Thank you for
Okay,
listening.
goodbye,
We love you.
goodbye,
Bye.
goodbye,
Wear a mask. Wash your
goodbye.
hands. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Social distance.
Oh no, another ban list? If you wanted to make my profile pic an emote, go ahead. I'm not making your profile pic an emote. It's an actual picture of me when I was younger, so don't worry about it. I won't message it out to be annoyed. Like, bruh, I'm not making your profile picture an emote. Did you seriously suggest that? Hey, Farfa, can you make my profile picture an emote? Guy from Reddit with the Invoker to 1 ban list donated to Farfa. Make this an emote, please. Farfa, can you make this an emote? No, I don't want to make this an emote. Looks cute though. Yeah, you're an adorable child. Little did your family know that he would grow up to be the architect of disaster and pain for the entire organization of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yep, Cumble.